Welcome to the Technical and Safety Webcast. I'll run through the slides quite quickly. If you have any questions, kindly put your questions into the Q&A tab at the top of the screen, and we will address your questions at the end of the session. For the rest of it, please kindly mute your phones so that there is no background noise. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I will go quickly through the first few slides because they're not really technical, but just to give some flavor to the event. For those who are new to SEM Asia in Manila, this will be the fourth event for SEM Asia. It will be held at the Quirino Grandstand in the Philippines, which is a very famous location, next also to the Kilometer Zero and Rizal Park. It's going to be the first street circuit in the Asian event. We've always run a race track in Sepang, but now we are going to use the street circuit and the roads will be closed. In addition, we will have an energy lab, which is an exhibition about energy, and we expect about 11,000 plus visitors per day, right? And we expect the president to also open the flag-off ceremony. Next slide. Right, this is a general view of where it is located in terms of where it is in Manila. See the red box. Okay, next slide, please. So we just zoom in a little bit so you can see a bit closer. So it is next to the H2O Hotel and Manila Hotel. Next slide. And this is the close-up of where it is. So we are actually in the red zone there around Luneta Park. Next slide. Okay, and this is a Google Maps view of that particular area. Next slide. Yeah, and this is the detailed view if you want to look more closely. Okay, I won't explain much more, but basically we are in the middle of the park and the competition goes around it. We will show you more details later. Okay, next slide. So this is the actual layout. So you will see in the middle here there's a lot of boxes and all that. So basically we will have the paddocks somewhere in the middle there, and this area is the team paddocks, and over here is the technical area, and over here is the energy lab, and our track is all around the edges. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this is a simple view of it to give you an idea. So the yellow area is the paddocks, and next to that is the tech inspection. So you guys will be all in the paddocks to do your work, and after that you go for tech inspection next door. Right, yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Right, this is just the plant layout again. Next slide. Yeah, I just wanted to show you the bridges. There are 3 bridges that are around the circuit. We are actually building 3 bridges. The 2 on the top are more for the visitors to the side. Your main access is the pedestrian bridge at the bottom. So if you look at the bottom left corner of the screen, that is where the pedestrian bridge access is. And you will access from here into the team paddocks, and to the extreme left you'll see a little box there that is actually the registration point. Okay. Yeah, at Penn City. Next slide. And the green arrows here indicate the emergency exit routes in case of emergency. Can you all please mute your phone? Sorry. Okay, thank you. Yeah, please remember to keep your phones muted because it interferes with the discussion. We have these are the emergency exit routes in case we have to evacuate the central region here. Okay, so just take note of that. We will explain a bit later on at the event, but that's where it is. Okay, next slide. Okay, this slide shows the different lanes around the track, and you have at the and you don't go into the blue line unless in case of emergency. That's where the rescue truck will take back vehicles that have stalled. Okay, so the starting point is at the bottom left here, and the race queue is over here, that long stretch of grey there. Okay, and the finish tent is over here to the left of the starting queue. Right, so we have, besides that, we also have a test track here, the yellow area on the left between the two red M's. Yeah, and the, can you kindly mute your phones, please? Please, we don't need any interruptions now. And at the top, there's also a line here, which is the stop line, which is used for the urban concept cars where they need to stop every lap. Okay, so aside from that, we have the start line this side and finish line this side. Okay, can we move to the next slide, please? Right, now I just want to explain a bit about the competition. So at the bottom, again, that's the start queue. So you will queue there before the race, and you go to the start tent, and that is where you will get your fuels and initial measurement, and then you move to the start arch at the bottom there. Right, at the start arch, you'll be flagged off, and you will then go into the track. So from the blue lane right into the racing track or the track itself. Okay, that's the green line there. Next, please. So once you're into the lane, you just keep going around. Next. Next. So you just go around the whole track. Another one, please. And you complete the circuit, and we do that 10 times. Okay, so that's indicated by the blue line there. Next, so you will have 5 attempts to do this circuit. Yeah, and each lap is 1.2 kilometers, and you will do 10 laps. So that's altogether 12 kilometers. The urban concept cars need to stop at the blue box at the top there. It's really a line right across the track. So it's not like Sepang. Sepang, we used to have a little place beside the track where you stop. For Manila, we will actually have a line right across all 3 lanes, and you need to stop there. Anywhere along the line, just stop for 2 seconds, and then continue again. Right? And on completion of the 10 laps, you go into the finish line, the red line at the bottom left corner, and into the finish tent, where your measurements will be taken, and you'll get your result. Right? Now, there are time limits for this. For the prototype, it is 24 minutes, and for the urban concept cars, it's 29 minutes. Okay, next slide. Now, here's some, well, I consider a small little formula to help you try to remember the times and all that. So, a simple way to look at it is maybe you look at this 10 divided by 5. Okay, 10 laps, 5 attempts. So answer is 2. Right? And then if you have 10 on the top there, minus 1, you get 9. The bottom is 5 minus 1, and you get 4. So that becomes 29 for urban concept and 24 for prototype. Okay, it's a dumb way to remember it, but I hope it works. Okay, next slide. This is just to show you where the pickup trucks are situated. So we have pickup trucks on the right side, and they will go anti-clockwise around the track to pick up any stalled vehicles, and they will come back to the left side of the screen where you see the drop zone here, where the trucks are, and you will be dropped off there, and then you can return to the team paddocks via the ramp. Okay, so that's the route. If you have any breakdowns outside of this area, let's say in the bottom stretch here, you will just have to push your car back to the ramp and go up because it's nearer that way. Right? So, okay, next slide. Right, these are the red squares here are the marshal locations. So we have 13 marshal locations around the venue. Marshal locations around the venue. The reason why we have marshals is, of course, to control the race. They will flag. They will give you the flags for certain things. For example, to slow down or to move aside for somebody to overtake, or to signify the end of the race. If let's say there's an accident, they may say race stop. They will give you a red flag. Okay, so these are the people you need to watch out for. They are the race marshals. They are also there to help rescue cars. If in the case that you break down, they will come to your rescue and push you into the rescue lane and call for the rescue truck, or rather golf buggy and trailer to come and pick you up. Okay, so that is race marshals. Okay, move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is what should you carefully with your focus. Kashkar, okay, I'm okay now. I think you muted me. Anyway, can you move to the next one? Next, please. Yeah. Okay, so these are the key areas that you need to be aware of. Once you arrive at the venue, there are 6 different things that you need to do. Number 1 is to go for the safety video, and that is at the place called the tent city or registration at the top, at the left side of the screen. So that is a very important venue. So you go there for your safety video first, and then after you have passed your safety video, you sit for a test, and then if you have passed that, you get to go for registration. And at registration, you will be given your goodie bags, your team bag, as well as your passes to enter the paddocks, right? So that is the first place you go to after you arrive. Okay, so when you arrive in Manila, the first thing, of course, is go to your hotels. After that, next stop is Tent City for registration. Now, after technical registration, we will also put a wristband on your hands. That is also necessary for entering the paddocks, and you also get a SIM card for use for the team use. Okay, so after your registration is done, you move to position number 3. So you will cross the bridge at the bottom left corner and make your way through to the team paddocks and technical registration area. So you can leave your stuff at your paddocks, but the first thing you need to do then is to go to technical registration, where I need the team manager, the 2 team drivers to come over there, and also bring your race number, the one that you stick on the car. Bring that there to the technical inspection area at the technical registration desk. Over there, you will have your photographs taken, and you will also get your barcodes on your name tags and onto the race numbers. So that is very important for the competition. Make sure you do that, otherwise you will not be able to compete. So there are really 2 registration processes. This is the second one, and it's critical before you do anything else in the process. Okay, after you've done your tag registration, you can go unpack your cars, or you can go do the track tour. I recommend you do the track tour first because there's limited time available for track tours. So you can go for your track tour at position number 5, which is basically down the ramp and just beside the racetrack. So there will be some vans taking you around, and the race director or his staff will be able to give you a rundown of the track, key things to know, and where to turn and stuff like that. So we only have track tours on the Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning until 8:30. So please try to make sure you get into that. And lastly, the number 6 item is the mandatory briefing. This happens at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, the 5th, and it happens at Tent City at the left side of the screen. So 6:30 p.m. is when the mandatory briefing is. So this is for all team members. You must all attend, and it is about the track activities. It is also about how you manage yourself in the paddocks and also about HSE. So it is mandatory. It is different from the safety briefing that you had at number one. It is really a full briefing, whereas the first safety video or safety session is really just to give you some pointers to enable you to unpack your stuff safely. The mandatory briefing is a full briefing, which also is mandatory. And for those who have missed that initial mandatory briefing on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., we have another session at 1:30 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. So that is the other option if you are late. But I would recommend that all of you come in to Tent City to register as early as possible at 2 o'clock and attend the safety briefing and the mandatory briefing at 6:30. So do it on Wednesday if you can, because time is very short. You should be, as far as possible, be complete with your registration on Wednesday, so that Thursday you can commence pack inspection as soon as possible. We start at 6:30, so make sure you're done as much as possible by Wednesday evening. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is a view of the paddocks and the technical inspection area. So the technical registration is located between the paddocks and the technical inspection area. Right, there's a series of tables there, and you will see that there's also e-shop just beside the technical registration. So this is where you need to come for if you want to get your flow meters and other stuff that you have purchased from the e-shop. And it is also, the type registration is here, and this is where you remember to bring your driver, team manager, race numbers for your barcoding and photos. Okay, so next slide. Okay, and this is the test track. If you look here, there's the yellow lane here, that's the test track. It is actually just a single lane, so if you want to drive your vehicle, the only place you can test drive it is on the test track. You are not allowed to drive your vehicle in the paddocks or anywhere else in the vicinity. The only place you can do it is at the test track. So just make your way down for the paddocks through the ramps here, the purple boxes, and you can come to the test track. There will be marshals to make sure that it is safe. So you can do that anytime. Okay, next slide. Right. Yeah, this is just to show you some of the tents. So the key points are the start tent at the bottom right and the finish tent at the left. We also have the race control and race director tents beside the finish. So that's there for your information. And on the bottom right corner, you also see MC, which is for the Shell Media Car. That is for some of our guests who will be going for a test drive around the circuit. Okay, next slide, please. Right, these are the barriers. So you'll see that there are barriers all around the track. Don't worry what types they are. Basically, you've got the green and the blue, so these are the different barriers. So there's a barrier on the outside and on the inside separating the track from the rescue lane. There are, of course, barriers which can be opened in the case of emergency or to access the rescue lane. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is to show you an overview of the paddocks and technical inspection area. Okay, next slide. Right, so you can see that in 3D here. So basically, the top section is the paddocks. There are space for about 120 teams at the moment, and the space allocation per team is about, well, minimum 4x4 meters. We are trying to expand that a bit more, so that's your space available. And at the bottom is the technical inspection area, and the yellow line at the side there is actually for the visitors to walk by and see what's going on. But they will not be allowed to enter into your paddock areas, right? And yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Right, so yeah, this is the paddocks. So you have 4x4 meter work area, possibly larger. We open access from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Please note that power will be switched off at 10 p.m. So for cars, battery electric cars in particular, if you're going to charge your batteries, make sure you do it well before 10 p.m. Otherwise, you will not be able to charge your batteries. Okay, next slide. Right, so I want to point out here the way to the technical inspection. To go to tech inspection, you have to queue on the right side there, where the green arrow is. And after that, you'll go through all the technical process and go back into the paddocks once you've completed it via this way, just beside the e-shop and technical registration. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is the technical inspection area. So as you can see, we have the various steps here. So initially, you will come in from the right. We will have the car weight and the driver weight. Then we will go through the dimension templates where you will measure the size of the vehicles. Then you will reverse back into the brake ramps. After the brakes are done, you go to the turn radius. Now the turn radius is new to SEM Asia. In the past, we used to have a slalom test, if you recall. There is no more slalom test from Manila. We will just have you do a right-hand turn and make sure that you are able to navigate that easily. So this does not really test the driver skills, but it's more on the vehicle handling. After that, we do the safety belt test, and before proceeding to the visibility test, right? And once you've done your visibility test, we go through the escape test at the bottom, followed by the design check, and then you will split up into the various energy types, be it internal combustion engines, battery electrics, or hydrogen at the top, right? So that is the technical inspection process. On completion, you come by to the left side there where you have the validation, and there you will get your stickers and also get your transponders installed. So you will park your cars on the left boxes here to have your transponders installed, and you can also get your car stickers, the tech pass, so that entitles you to complete and go onto the track. Yeah, I forgot to mention there's also a viewing area for team members who want to view the tech inspection. Remember, for tech inspection, we only allow 5 people in. Basically, the 2 drivers, the team manager, and also 2 other people with the pit access badge. All right. Next slide. Okay, the next slide is just the same. It's just in a different presentation. So I'll skip this one. Next. Right. And this is to explain to you how to get to the race queue. So you will see that from the paddocks, paddocks are on the extreme left, in the yellow shaded areas there. So you come down along the line there towards the white ramp at the bottom left corner, and you join the race queue. Okay, the race queue will be split into 2. Basically, there'll be the e-mobility race queue and the internal combustion race queue. So that is just beside the track. And then you will go into the start tent right at the end. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the start tent. So you enter from the left of the start tent, and then split into various different parking lots. This is where you will get fueled out. So you have some for internal combustion, some for e-mobility, i.e. the battery electrics and the hydrogen. And once you are fueled up and take the initial measurements, then you can proceed onto the starting line, and you'll be flagged off at the start line. Okay, next slide. The next slide is the finish tent. Basically, it is the exact opposite. So after you've entered the finishing lane, you will come into the finishing tent via ramps, and there are various positions, some for internal combustion, some for hydrogen and e-mobility. And again, you will take your final measurements. You will note that there are two screens here. These are the timing screens. So that indicates whether you have finished in time or not. So if you have finished in time, then you are considered to have a valid run. If not, it is not valid. Okay, after that, after you finish passing through the finish tent, you make your way back to the ramp and back to your paddocks. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is a general overview of the schedule. So I'd like to stress, please come on Wednesday. The top few rows are for Wednesday. So that's from 2 p.m. is when you can start registration. So do come as soon as you can. So you have registration, technical registration, track tours, and unpacking and car setup. And dinner at 6 o'clock. And during dinner, so everybody should be there. At 6:30, we have the mandatory team briefing. So that is for all team members, and we will roughly cover about 1 hour in that mandatory briefing, where we will talk about track, technical, as well as safety. Right? So make sure you are there on Wednesday if you can. If you can't do it, the last opportunity is on Thursday, where registration finishes about 1:30. So please try to be there by 1:30 if you want to be registered. Again, we have technical registration and track tours, but track tours will be limited till 8:30 only, because we will start the prototype practice. If you look a bit lower down, that's the prototype practice and urban car practices starting from 8:30 for the rest of the day. So you really need to be early to go for track tours. Right, for those who have missed the mandatory briefing on Wednesday, there's another option, of course, at 1:30 on Thursday. So please do that if you have not attended. I want to point out that 12 o'clock we have a track closure to facilitate the group photo session. So that is where you put all the cars on the track and take a picture of who was there at SEM Manila. Right, so please make your presence felt, be there. And the day ends at 6 p.m., at least as far as the track is concerned, and track inspection. There will be welcome dinner at the Manila Ocean Park at 6:30. Right, and the venue, of course, closes at 10 p.m., but you should go for dinner first anyway. Right, on Friday, it's much the same, except we have no longer registration. Track inspection is the whole day, track open most of the day. We do have a track closure from 8:30 or 9 o'clock. That is for the flag-off ceremony. So during that flag-off ceremony, nothing will happen. We will have the flag-off procession and all that. So do take that into account. We will reopen again at 10:30 for the prototype session, and then have a break for lunch, and then track opens again at 12:30. So we have but that's where we start competition. Okay, so until for the whole of Friday morning is practice and flag off, but come afternoon we actually start competition. Now I forgot to mention one thing. Unlike in Sepang, we don't have all the cars on track at the same time. We actually have to split the prototypes and the urban cars because the roads are much narrower. There's less space for everybody, and all the prototypes will go separate from the urban cars. Right, so that's why we are trying to start competition earlier as well on Friday, to maximize the opportunities for you to compete. Right, so competition actually starts on Friday, and full day on Saturday and Sunday, except on Sunday we close a little bit earlier to facilitate the award ceremony. Okay, so those are the schedules. Please take note. Very important, I want to point out that you need to go for the daily updates at 6:15 every morning at 10 City. This is for drivers and team managers. We will check attendance. Whoever is not present is not allowed to go on track or compete. Right? Please take note. There will be no excuses for buses missing or anything because you are all staying nearby and we expect everybody to walk there in advance and be there on time. So please allow 20 minutes at least, or if you're staying further, maybe 30. But please take note, there will be no excuses. You have to be there by 6:15 for the daily update. Okay, next slide. Okay, that's now over to Sir Boy, and thank you everybody.
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I'm Boise Duro. I will look after the HSSE of SEM 2014 and make sure that everybody is safe during the event. So let's go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hello, Cash. Anyway, so this is actually an overview of the Luneta Park. Please disregard the Ferris wheel. It will not be available. And you can just imagine those are the tracks that were mentioned by Colin. It will go around the park during the event. Okay, Cash, next slide, please. Okay, so this is our aim. We aim for goal 0. As you all know, Shell is committed to pursue a goal of no harm to people and no leaks to the environment. As we are going to work we're going to have a race in a park, we make sure that we don't spill any oil or any product on the ground and ensure that nobody gets hurt during the event. And we believe that goal 0 is possible with everyone, all of us observing the HSSE golden rules of Shell, which is to comply, which means comply with all the rules and regulation. We intervene on any unsafe practices that we see around. It could be anybody within your team who should intervene, and we should respect all the people. Next slide, please. So these are the hotels that Colin mentioned earlier. You will note that there are 5 hotels surrounding the park, which are very close in the area. Next slide, please. So in this slide, you will see how long we have estimated how long it will take you to travel from the hotel where you are staying going to the 10th city. So the longest is Waterfront Manila, which is about 20 minutes. So you need to adjust your time. Make sure that you are available in the morning to do the briefing. Next slide, please. Okay, so on the 5th, we expect that some of you will be arriving on that date. And the schedule is very much similar to what Colin has shown earlier. We'll have the mandatory briefing, and then from 6 to 9, we'll have full induction briefing in the morning, and at the same time after the technical, just before the technical briefing. So make sure that you attend this daily briefing. Okay, next slide, please. So this slide shows to you the registration process. We start with item 1, wherein you arrive at the security check checkpoints, provide all the necessary documents for clearance, and we expect a maximum of 10 members for each team. So if there are more than 10, we only will accept 10 members of the team. And then from item 1, you proceed to 2, to the seating area. And then the team number will be called by the HSC so that you can proceed for the HSC briefing and a short quiz. There will be a quiz. This will be 5 items, basically very general items on HSSE. And the plan is for you to get 100% for this test. It's very simple. It's common sense. Make sure that you read your handbook, and it's all in your handbook. And just in case you have some mistakes, you don't get that perfect score, you'll have to take a different set of exams. We have to ensure everyone is 100% before they are allowed. So once you have completed and passed the exams, you collect the tokens, and you can proceed to the seating area while your team manager will proceed for the registration, collect all your lanyards, badges, and goodie bags. And from there, the team manager and the team distributes the item and gets the SIM card activated and go and exit at item number 5. Next slide, please. Okay, so coming from the tent city, as mentioned earlier by Colin, you have to access the PWD bridge to get into the paddocks area. Next slide. So safety risk, we have to ensure that we are aware there will be many moving vehicles around. Be aware of the tow trucks or forklifts passing at dedicated walkways, and please use designated crossings only. And you only have to push or pull your cars going to the testing areas. Be aware that there may be slips or tripping hazards along the way. In your work area, make sure that wires or cables are taped to the ground. You need to avoid any hand, foot, or body injuries. Make sure that you use the correct protective equipments. And when you are using power tools, be aware that there are rotating parts that could hurt you. And then on your outfit, shorts, high heels, and slippers or sandals and open-toe shoes are strictly prohibited. And be aware of any fire hazards, as some of you will have fuels in the area. And you have to handle flammable liquids with care. And all fire exits will be marked around the paddocks and in other areas. So be aware where these are located, and also fire extinguishers. And make sure that after your day, ensure that you maintain a good housekeeping practice. Next slide, please. So general rule, no smoking except at designated areas. There will be signs where these areas are. No alcohol or drugs will be allowed. Make sure that you use your PPE when you do your job or working on your car. No walking at restricted areas. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, next slide, Cash. So there's going to be a penalty system. So first infraction will be a formal warning, and then if you have a second infraction, then best overall attempts will be invalidated at the end of the competition. And the third infraction, that would mean an immediate team disqualifications. So teams that are found to be in violation of any of these rules will be issued a formal written warning, and this will be registered against the team. That would mean an immediate team disqualifications. So teams that are found to be in violation of any of these rules will be issued a formal written warning, and this will be registered against the team in question. Although all penalties are subject to the investigation and decision from the safety team, technical team, and race director. Next slide, please. So as a final reminder, when in doubt, if you have questions, please don't. The most important rule is if you are uncertain of any aspect of your safety on site, no matter how small that is, you must contact a member of the Shell safety team. We will always be there ready to help you. Let's ensure and work together that we make Shell Eco Marathon 2014 the safest and most successful ever. Okay, so that ends my presentation. Back to you, Kashka.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Sir Boy. Thank you, Colin, for the technical and safety information you provided to teams. So, teams, I hope you were able to take note of these reminders and processes. But before we move on to Q&A, let me just discuss a bit on the student guidelines. So, upon your arrival at the airport, please proceed to the immigration clearance area. So here, you need to look out for the Shell Eco Marathon Asia banner to direct you to the immigration counter, which is counter 3, to get your passport verified and stamped. So afterwards, at the baggage claim area, you will be greeted by a Shell staff who will then brief you on how to get to the welcome booth in the public area. So upon collection of the baggage, you will need to proceed to the customs declaration desk. So please refer to the travel announcement in the handbook for the list of items you should declare. So the handbook will be released within the week, and this will be found in the newsletter as well. So once cleared, proceed to the exit doors leading to the public area, and there you need to look out for the Shell Eco Marathon Asia desk at the right side of the public area. So here your arrival will be recorded and checked against your hotel accommodation booking. So the transfer assistant will escort you to the bus pickup point, and the Shell staff will be there to assist you as well. So once the bus arrives, you will place your baggage into the baggage compartment and board the bus. So upon boarding the bus, a security personnel will brief the participants on safety reminders and transport regulations. Okay, so once the bus stops at your hotel, so the listed hotels, Bayview Park, H2O, Manila Pavilion, Manila Hotel, and and Miramar Hotel, please collect your baggage and proceed to your hotel for a check-in. So here's the schedule of the shuttle. So note that only the official members of the teams will be provided shuttle service from airport to the Shell accredited hotels. Okay, so some student reminders. Be sure to register your guests for them to enter the venue by sending an email to charm.entreviste@shell.com. So please include the names and email addresses of your guests. And remember that no registration will not grant entry to your guests on the event site. So you see this is a bit different from how it was in Malaysia back then, where walk-in guests were allowed. So here you need to pre-register your guests to ensure or grant them access to the event venue. Okay, so things to bring: scanned copies of your passports, your IDs, visa if applicable, the invitation letter from Shell, and the joining instructions, which will be given out within this week as well, and your hotel booking confirmation. Upon departure from Manila, make sure, so when you go back to your country, make sure you have enough money left for you to pay for the airport tax. That's around 550 pesos per head. That's around 12 to 13 US dollars. All right, so just a few tips. Make sure that you have your documents ready and have your card ready to raise, and see you in Manila in a few days. So salamat, that's thank you in Filipino, and let's now move on to Q&A. All right, so Colin, Stephanie, do we have any questions from the teams?
Next question is from ASU Racing. Are there any power tools available in SEM? The answer is we we will have a welding garage available, just like in Sepang. That is available for doing hot work, drilling, grinding, and cutting. And the idea is that all the dangerous and heavy work is going to be done outside in the welding garage. Yeah. So if you see at the left-hand side, just beside the yellow box, that area there is the welding garage. Well, actually, it's a tent, and there'll be a team there of professional welders who are able to do welding, cutting, grinding, and some basic machining. And they are also available to help out if you need to get certain spare parts. For example, they may be able to help you, but you need to catch them early, not on Friday, not on Saturday or Sunday, okay? Because they need time to go get stuff, and you also need time to install it. Okay, that's some of the technical questions.